Hey, this is Daniel from the Truck Insurance Channel, and today I'm interviewing an agent.
Hey guys, I'm Luke and I own Tailored Insurance. We specialize in trucking insurance. We can do all things trucking except for anything that requires a placard or that's hazmat. So other than that, we'll pretty much write it.
And we're going to talk about why it's so important to have a good agent and the whole reasoning behind that and where to find them. So the point of this video is really just to talk about why it's important to have a good agent, right? Like there's some options out there where you could call directly, like an 800 number, go online and get insurance, especially for the new ventures. It's much less of an option for fleets. But we just want to kind of express and give some different opinions on why it's important to not just have a good agent, but have an awesome relationship with them, because it's really someone you got to lean on and depend on to be successful in this industry. And so I'm going to ask Luke a few questions, and maybe you guys can gain something from this. So first off, why do you think it's so important to have a good relationship with your clients?
Obviously, there's all kinds of different insurance, but trucking specifically, your insurance agent is like a member of your team. You're not able to get a hold of them, or you can't get a verification of insurance or something added to your policy immediately, then that puts a hold on your operation. So your agent is a team player when it comes to your trucking operation.
You don't want to be stuck waiting on loads, or have a load waiting on insurance verification, like certificates of insurance, right? Like both of our agencies, we have automated certificate of COI issuance, so like you can go in there in your account and get your own COIs. Not everybody has that, especially people that don't specialize in trucking. It is a more common thing nowadays, though.
Yeah. Most agency management systems have that feature, but the systems we have, it's just more in your face, and it's easier to use.
It's built around trucking specifically.
Yeah.
Does it cost more to go through an agent?
The answer is no. So it's going to cost you more in the long run if you don't have an agent, because of the loads that you'll lose and so on and so forth. But no, it should not cost you any extra going through an agent versus going directly through the company. Now, the reason why prices are going to vary is because when you have two different individuals quoting the same company, you've got two different mindsets of how that company should be insured. So it could vary when it comes to that. But if you provide the quote to each agent, or each agent's quotes to each other, and allow them to compare apples to apples, the quote should come out exactly the same.
They should. They just don't always.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go into quotes that there can be variances, like in how we fill out applications essentially. Mm-hmm. So that's like I can look at a Progressive quote that someone emails me from either direct through like online or over the phone, or from a Progressive agent, and within 30 seconds I can tell you all the differences and why the pricing's the way it is versus side by side Progressive quotes or Berkshire quotes, whoever that offers direct channel and agency channels. It's important to know like the differences and have an understanding of the actual like coverages. Like you hear things like that on the personal auto side, but in commercial auto, especially trucking, when you're going interstate, like crossing state lines in that for-hire capacity, it's a whole different ballgame for insurance. And so understanding how a lot of it works is really important, and that's why we have this channel, just to try and help educate and provide resources. So like a really important thing is being able to compare quotes and understand as the consumer, as the owner of a trucking company, like you got to know what you're looking at. It gets complicated though. That's why it's important to have an agent.
Like anything as little as like having a different address for the owner versus the company could throw off the quote, like throw off pricing.
Some addresses like have a shared zip code. I've seen that before, and it's like one can make a huge difference in the overall price.
Yep. Types of commodities that they have listed under your cargo will make a huge difference too. There's so many different variations, but the point is that if you want to make sure that your operation runs smoothly, you should find an agent that specializes in trucking specifically. They're fine-tuned for your situation, and there won't be any hiccups along the way, versus if you're working with a standard insurance agent that kind of has to figure things out along the way and doesn't have a streamlined process for trucking.
So if I owned a trucking company and I was going to get insurance, the reason I'm asking him this is, what can I do as the owner to prepare and have like the most ideal situation to get the best quotes and have the most options? Because like having the cheapest quote often is not just like getting the cheapest quote. It's being eligible for the most companies possible because every state it varies, right? So whatever you heard from a friend might not apply to you. Probably doesn't apply to you, right? Like I run into that the most of anything as far as myth busting and misconceptions. Whatever your friend told you probably doesn't apply to you, unfortunately.
Yeah,
like there's probably one little thing in your whole data set of information about your company, your operations, all of that throws it off, and so it's not comparable. But the reason I'm asking you this is because like if I'm a trucking company owner and I want to have the best rates and the best coverage, I need to be the best customer. I want to have the most control as possible as the trucking company owner. So like, what do I need to do?
The first things that pop into my head were most ideal would be someone that's been in business for a long time because they've been through this process countless numbers of times, and they understand the importance of gathering things like loss runs and IFTA reports and things like that.
What are loss runs?
So loss runs.
Insurance agents have a bad habit of speaking in a different language that like people don't know what anything means.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize.
Loss runs. I know what IFTAs are.
Yeah,
if I'm a trucking company, I know what IFTAs are. I hate them.
Yeah.
Another thing I have to keep up with and I'm constantly behind on. But
so your loss runs, it's the pretty much your report card for how your business has performed when it comes to insurance claims over the past couple of years. So if you've been with one company, it should be pretty simple. If you've been with them for the past 3 to 5 years, you can gather those loss runs from that one company. You just reach out to them, send me my loss run reports. They send you hopefully a very short sheet of paper with all zeros on it, which means you've had no losses. If you have had losses, it'll be all itemized of how much the loss was, when it happened, small description, and whether the claim is open or closed. And so veteran truckers, they've been through this process so many times that they know that they need to gather that information. They know how to organize it, things like that. But to answer the question, the ideal client is someone that's organized. So you don't have to be a veteran or someone that's been in the business forever. Anyone can be organized. That means keeping up with all information, storing it in one place, whether it's digital or physical files, and have it ready so that whenever your agent requests that information, you can just send it on over it in a nice spreadsheet or however you keep that information.
One thing I'll add to that, currently valued loss runs, which gets to be annoying, right?
Yeah.
So like I could ask for loss runs today and be a super organized business owner and save those somewhere, so next year when I get asked for them again, I already have them, but those aren't any good next year.
Nope.
I have to go back and ask for them for whatever insurance company I had years ago. Most of the time, you're not going to need loss runs more than 3 years, sometimes 5 years.
Yeah.
Depends on the company we're trying to quote with. But you have to request these every year until they phase out.
And within 30, usually, so not always, but like worst case scenario, and usually half the time it has to be currently valued loss runs within the last 30 days. Some companies are 90 days and others are like 6 months, but 6 months is rare. 90 days is somewhat common, but 30 days is what you're going to see most of the time. So that means that you have to call that old agent or old insurance company every year within 30 days of prior to your renewal and have those ready. A lot of people are really confused on why, and they think it's ridiculous, which it does sound ridiculous on the surface, but the reason why is because insurance claims, there's not always a time element on when the claim can be filed. So say that you had an accident that the person hadn't filed the claim against you yet, or it wasn't really settled, and so there was no insurance payout from that old policy 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Well, you may be good this year, but next year that situation may have settled, and there's been now a $50,000 payout on that old accident that happened, and now your loss runs look different. Now you're not as clean as you looked before. So
yeah, that's another thing to watch out for. All right, what else can I do as a trucking company to just try and present my company the best?
Get good inspections.
Get good inspections. Okay. Yeah. Inspections are really important, and sometimes people learn the hard way or learn too late. If you're within 30 days of a renewal coming up for a new policy, it's probably too late to try and fix inspections or get more inspections and improve your averages. That's what really matters the most with inspections. There's a few out of service violations that could just completely ruin your chances of being eligible for certain insurance companies. But overall, underwriters at the insurance companies that really pay attention to the inspections and out of service violations, they're looking at national average versus your company. So whatever percentage in each category it is for the national average, you want to be below that for out of service rates. that's kind of it. So it's
Yeah.
just a game of averages.
Yeah, and I mean, just like it's not something that you can always control, but you can be proactive. So like if you got a bad inspection, you can be proactive and make sure that all your trucks are in good standing before you have another one, and especially logbooks. That's like the one of the top things that I see is
Logbook violations.
Logbook violations.
There are some other things around drivers, driver fitness, that certain insurance companies will just be like, absolutely not. Like even if you're below national average, like if we see these violations, absolutely not. We're not going to consider you.
Yeah.
So just back to like having the most options generally results in the best, cheapest coverage, right? Because like at the end of the day, we always just want the lowest premiums. Like we want to pay as little for our risk as possible. That's a given for everyone. But it's also not just the cheapest, because then like in claim situation, there's two types of people that are looking for insurance. There's people that want the cheapest, and then there's the people who want the best cheapest, right?
Yeah.
The best cheapest group are the ones that survived bad claim situations, right? The people that just want the cheapest haven't had a bad claim situation yet. Yet. One last question. Where do you find really good trucking insurance agents, like that specialize in trucking? And how do you know they're good?
So, I mean, first thought, I would say everything's going to YouTube or having an online presence. So definitely look online and see who specializes in that. You can check out their website, see what services they have for their customers, like a customer login or something like that on their website.
I like resources.
Yeah, try to find resources on their website.
That's what we're all about, having tons of resources. The more resources you have as an agent, like the better you can serve customers, the better customers can help themselves too.
Yep.
Like it's nice to have things that are just there on the website the customers can go use. And they don't, like, you can point them in the right direction. A lot of times, like with us, they go explore and find other things they didn't even know they needed, like, which is really cool. Resources is probably one of the bigger things I'd be looking out for.
Yeah, and knowledge. I mean, it's becoming easier to like capture someone's knowledge because of YouTube and social media and the internet. But so try to see if people have content and things that educate their clients. And I mean, that's something that's you can kind of base their knowledge off of how they're presenting themselves and what knowledge base they have about that topic. So
I'll add one other thing. Like I can sell you a policy today for whatever you're currently doing, but you might have some things that change that could like really impact you, your insurance, and require, a whole new policy or something midterm. Like we need to know what you plan on doing. Like is there going to be growth? Are you going to, like there's a million different things that can happen over the policy period, which is generally 12 months. Yeah. So it's having that consultative approach is super important. That's how you develop the relationship to begin with. I mean, I can't think of anything better. Like referrals are great. Like we love referrals, but it's important to not just try to sell a policy, but really get to know the person and understand their business and work with them, like on their team to reach their goals.
You need to be as honest as you possibly can with your agent. So like, don't just tell them what you think sounds good. Don't just say I'm hauling general freight and
brutally honest.
Yeah, you need to be like, tell us all the dirty stuff. So because the thing is, we're not going to go and take all that information to the insurance company and say, hey, look how bad they are. We're going to tell you like, hey, you should probably fix these things, and we're going to have those fixed before we present you to the insurance company so that they don't give you awful rates. So
or no rates.
Yeah, or no rates because you didn't tell us what was going on. The underwriter saw it because they have all kinds of powerful systems where they'll find everything about you pretty much. So yeah, you can't hide anything when it comes to your operation and the underwriters. So not for long. Yeah. You might get away for it for a little bit, but yeah. So just tell us everything, because we'll be able to like say that you're doing something that's a little off, and it may have you in a spot, and you're just not telling us that you're stressed about your whole operation because of one little thing that's going on. We may have seen this before and kind of can guide you in the right direction and help you out. And so, yeah, just transparency is key. You got to trust your agent. And if you don't trust to tell them everything, then how are you going to entrust that they're insuring your stuff correctly? So you got to tell them everything. So,
your agent's got your back.
Yeah. Or we do, at least.
All right, Luke. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing some knowledge. Look forward to doing some more collaborative videos in the future. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. I look forward to it as well.
Well, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those good things you're supposed to do on YouTube. If you need help with insurance, check out the links below. There's a whole bunch of goodies in there. and see you in the next video.